Welcome back to the special Raid My Lab series preview, where we take a look at some of the tech that we're going to use to make the Raid My Lab web series run. The series will start on July 22nd, 2019, and we'll have an episode once a week. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to the video, and you're going to see how I made the enclosure for the button that makes the entire Raid My Lab series work. So what I wanted to do is to give you a little bit of insight into how I make these laser cut boxes, and it's really cool. I spent $200 on that K40 laser cutter from China, and it has just been a fantastic purchase. You can cut things, you can engrave things, and it's really precise, and it's fun. It gives things like a handcrafted sort of look. I have a 3D printer and a small CNC machine, and they're both cool, but for my money, I think the laser is my favorite out of all of them. So one of the things I like about the laser is that you're just working in 2D. I have zero artistic ability. So, for me, trying to design things in 3D, it's not that I can't do it. I've done it in Fusion and all that kind of stuff, but I don't enjoy it like I enjoy this. So if you come in here to extensions, and for some reason, Inkscape is just running really slow today. But you're going to go to Laser Tools, and I installed this plugin. They're super easy to install, but it's called Tabbed Box Maker. And basically what you do is you go through here and you decide, like, do you want to be millimeters or inches? What's the length, width, height of the box? How wide do you want your tabs to be on the side of the box? Do you want it to be like an automatic proportion or something like that? My material is just a little bit over 3 mil thick, so I'm going to use that. How much of a kerf do you want to leave on there, and all that kind of stuff. You can decide how tight you want to make the joints, all that stuff. How far you want to space them apart. So like if I were to come here and make them a little further apart on the graphic, it's fine. So I hit apply, and what it did was it made my box. And so if you can see, 6 sides to the box. Now I've already made the rest of the box, so we're just going to make a lid for this example. Actually, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and make a lid. And so I'm going to delete these other ones. And then what I'm going to do is, missed one. Come on. It's always the last one that gets you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this all, and I'm going to right click it, and I have to click on the line itself. And I'm going to group that so I don't have to worry about it too much. So I'm going to drag it over here, and then I'm going to make my document the same size as the image, basically. So I'm going to resize to page content, and so now the whole document is the size of this thing. So we're going to zoom in a little bit. So what you can do, there's all kinds of alignment tools, and we're not going to get into some of the more advanced things about this. I'm going to do it just kind of quick and dirty. But basically what happens is with the laser cutter is whatever is black will be raster engraved, which means it's going to kind of do like a line pattern on it. It's just going to go back and forth, and engrave. Whatever is blue is going to be vector engraved. And so if you have really cool, intricate vector outlines that are scalable and stuff like that, you would put it in blue. And whatever is red will be cut. And so as I select this thing, I'm going to come over here to the stroke paint. And right now it's not set to paint anything. So I'm going to click it on here, and I'm going to change this to 255, and now this is red. And so when the K40 Whisperer software sees this, it's going to know this needs to be cut out. So what we're going to do, there's other ways to do alignment, but I'm just going to do something really quick. I'm going to drag these bars in from the side, and I'm going to get my circle tool, and I'm going to just start making a circle. It doesn't even have to be round. So what I want a 13 millimeter circle, and basically, I'm going to tell it that the radius X and radius Y are both 6.5 millimeters, and that will give me 13, because I'm talking radius, not what do you call that when you go all the way across it? Diameter. So I'm going to drag this here, and I'm just going to roughly center this up. It's pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my text tool, and I'm just going to type in raid my. And then there's, like I said, there's all kinds of things to center the text and all that. We're not getting real fancy here, but we're going to take this, and I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to copy that. Let's see, I think I can copy that, and come back down here and drag this one and type in the word lab. And then we're going to drag that over and center it up. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So there's ways to do different things with layers. For me, it's just about as easy to come in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, this, and this, and I'm going to group those together just so I don't accidentally move them. And I'm going to delete them. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this as, and I'm going to save it as RAID cut 2. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control Z, and I think Control Z, back that stuff back in there, and then I'm going to delete this, and I'm just going to save it again, and then this will be my cut 1. So what's going to happen is I'm going to tell it to engrave this part, and then cut this part, and then cut the outside, and then I will have my box. Okay, so we're over here at the maker section of my lab, and I have a little CNC machine on the left, and there's an old, really old garbage computer in the middle. The point of that one is that it needs to have a parallel port to run the CNC machine, and then there's the laser cutter over there to the right. So I'm just going to walk you over here and set you down. And again, this is kind of an old computer, so it'll be a little slow. But basically what happens is up here, you see the image we made, and this is the first one. And we can control where we want to start cutting on the stuff, and then we can hit raster engrave, and we can set, right now it's going to do it 350 millimeters per second, and it's going to start engraving all the black part, and then we can go back and cut and cut that part. Now I'm in the process of setting up my air assist, which will kind of clear out a little bit more of the smoke, so I'm going to use a little tube to keep it out of the way to give you guys a better shot. Okay, so I've got a piece of wood in the laser cutter, and I don't have the smoke assist turned on, so it might be a little smokier than normal, but we're going to close the lid, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to tell this thing to initialize the laser cutter, and then I'm going to tell it to print. So you can see the thing pretty much goes back and forth with like an inkjet. There's a fan sucking the exhaust outside. Gets a little bit of turbulence in there, so builds up a little bit of smoke, but you can see it's just working like a basic laser printer. I'm going to hold you up here so you can get a view from the top. Okay, I'm going to leave the lid open for the next two parts because I'm going to use a little bit of air and some pump to allow you to see a little bit better. And I am wearing laser glasses to protect my eyes, so I'm just going to go ahead and fire this thing up and tell it to cut. You can see it just fires right up there. And cuts that hole right out. Now, ironic, oh yeah, it fell. Now, I should not have picked that up because I just lost my alignment here, but we can still see right about where it cut, and we're going to get it close enough. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load the other design file. Okay, so let's cut the outline. It's not going to be perfect because I picked up the piece, but that's fine. Now there are things you can do, like put some tape on top if you are worried about that charring. You can also adjust it. I could be cutting faster at a lower power and do multiple passes, and there are all kinds of different tricks you can do to make things neater. I'm just giving you an idea of the basic way it works. I don't mind the charred look. I think it looks kind of cool. I'm not a giant fan of the 3D printed stuff, and so I think this looks kind of cool. It looks like there's a little bit of craftsmanship to it. It's real wood. It's something you can touch, and plus we're using laser beams. How awesome is that? So we're going to let it go. And there we have it. There's our piece. I can't see my own screen. Raid my lab. There we go. So I've laser cut a box, as you probably have seen already in the video, that this whole thing is going to go in. And so we're going to put it in there. And this thing's not going to have a whole lot of stress on it, so we don't have a lot to worry about. So we're going to drop it in. I may have to get in there with some kind of tool to tighten that, but I think we should be able to get it good hand tight. Now again, I like to have a lot of extra slop in here. I like to have a lot of extra room to be able to take this apart later. In fact, I don't even know if at most I'm going to put a little glob of glue to keep the bottom on this case. I'm a big fan. I think right now I'm using Gorilla Glue in the glue gun that we'll be using in a second, and it is some tough stuff. So we should be pretty good. So we're going to hook this up to ground. Doesn't matter which one's which. And the other one to D3, and then just to keep it honest in there, I'm going to put just a little glob of glue. Now if you use Ryobi tools at all, I highly recommend this glue gun. You can watch AVE do a teardown of it. It is, I paid 15 bucks for it at Direct Tools, and it is fan-freaking-tastic. Now it is hot. And in fact, one of my favorite review on HomeDepot.com is someone saying that this thing spews Satan's magma, and they are not wrong. This is the hottest glue gun I've ever used in my life. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the ugly side in, and we're just going to double check that it fits this way, because there's a little hole cut out here that we can put the USB cable in. And so what we're going to do is we noticed that the USB cable lines up pretty much right with the center of this tab, so it's always a pain to get this stuff to stay when you're gluing it. Notice that I put the headers on so that this can stay nice and cool inside the unit, and I'm not going to glue that down. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use about the minimal amount of glue. And when I say minimal, I mean minimal by my standards. So let's see, does that need to back up? Trying to think here, is that going to need to back up? No, that goes all the way through. So we can put that there. Now, one tip I have for this, as the Brits would say, one top tip is I bought this little fan at a yard sale for 50 cents, and it is, again, fan-freaking-tastic for allowing this stuff to cool down. Now, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch glue dry, but know that I'm doing it faster than the average YouTuber because I have my 50-cent fan. Now, I did wind up cheating that back about 3 mil just to give a little bit of, there you go, just give a little bit extra space on it. But I'm actually using the edge of this circuit board as a little bit of tension, so I didn't even bother gluing this thing. It just kind of stays on with its own tension. It's laser cut pretty tight. So this is the unit. Got the little USB cord area, got the Raid My Lab button, and we are in business.